5 of my best teams in guide. I'm just kind of running through my saved roster and doing it via Blitz, and just kind of giving my overall feedback on a team as they are in a fight. Next team I am going to skip over. Again, it is just a Blitz team. It's my hand minions. Again, this is never a team I would use in war offense, war defense. It's really just a blitz team. There's really not many teams they can go up against, except for maybe a non-synergized team. But again, it's not a team I really think needs explaining. It's really just about, if you're looking to kind of go really hard on blitz, there's a team you can use. Next up, I do have Aimtron. Now, I have been, preaching Aimtron on a lot on this channel. Just in regards to aim in general is really good for Dark Dimension 1, Dark Dimension 2, and so as not to look like a hypocrite, it's not. I'm not practicing what I preach. It's just back in the day when I started this account, AIM was really, it was not a good team. Scientist Supreme's mechanics was horrible at the beginning of the game, and it wasn't until that they got a rework that they really became this viable team. And at that point, I had already cleared through Dark Dimension 1 and Dark Dimension 2. I did use Scientist Supreme for my early Ultima 7 raid, and I just honestly haven't gotten to build up the rest of this team yet. They are on my to-do list. They are a great war offense team, and there's a lot of teams that they are able to handle. Um, so, just kind of going in, at some point I will work on the rest of this team. Mainly my aim security, my aim assaulter, and my graviton are a bit on the weaker side, but anyway, this team primarily works. AIM Scientist Supreme is going to debuff the enemies, and she's got a chance to res. Ultron is just one of those strong characters where he basically gets his ads going, and once those ads are on the field, I mean, it just really kind of becomes this like powerhouse. He hits like a freight truck. And early on, he's just such a strong character. Like I said, this team isn't fully built up on my end, so you're not going to see their full potential, but they should be able to handle this kind of faux Sinister Six team. You did see Graviton just did revive, even though he died. Um, and it's one of those teams. There's a lot of teams that they can take care of. Looking at things as we continue the fight. Um, as we're looking, they can. Bear with me just a second. Aimtron, they are going to do really well against pretty much any team that is utilizing Captain Marvel. They are going to go in. They're going to be, fairly good against the mercenaries. They are going to do okay against that Shield Coulson combo. They will handle Wakandans. To an extent, they could probably take out Spider Verse because again, they are Spider Verse slash symbiotes because they do have that strong cleanse mechanic built into their kits. So really, any team that is going to be either a lot of debuffs, or if there is a lot of teams that are really kind of like really strong in phase one, in the sense where kind of like after that first phase they kind of start to fizzle. AIM is just such a strong survivable team that really in a lot of cases they can outlast a lot of teams. If they were built up enough, they would actually probably maybe be able to handle Hydra a little bit, Red Skull Hydra. Um, but again, I would actually be kind of curious to test that in a war to see how that would work. But they're a strong offensive team, definitely in that top five, and they are again on that my forever growing list of characters that I would like to work on. But so you saw that. I mean, they just walked through that pretty quickly. So another good team. Next on our list, let's let's see who we got. We are going to go to the Wakandans. I'm actually probably going to skip through Wakandans. They aren't really much of a war offense or war defense team anymore, I don't think. Some people are using them as defense, but again, they're just not a very strong defensive team. Shuri is a phenomenal character by herself. The actual Wakandan team, I mean, not the greatest. Like I said, once I get Killmonger built up a little bit more, as well as Karath, I'm probably going to split this team up and put Killmonger and Karath onto the mercenary team. So I'm just going to pass over them. Next on the list, we do have Supernatural. Um, Supernatural, definitely going to be in that higher offensive tier as far as, they definitely should be making up probably your maybe top 12 attacks. There again, they're going to be a really, strong team. They've got fairly good survivability. They're definitely not one of the meta teams, and I haven't really worked on them too much quite yet. So they would probably do a little bit better once I actually work on them. I am planning on taking um, Ghost Rider into Dark Dimension 4, or Dark Dimension 3 rather, as he is kind of essential for those city nodes. But looking at them, I mean, they will do fairly well against a Captain Marvel team. Um, is going to be they'll do pretty well against an Ultron team, um, and those are kind of the ones that are sticking out in my head. They do pretty well against Power Armor, just because the ability of those to flip the buffs around. So again, kind of any team that is heavy on buff ups, they can kind of work around a little bit. They can do fairly well against Asgardians if they are stronger than the Asgardian team. But again, that's going to be kind of a very RNG type fight. They'll do good against Kree minions, which I don't know anyone that is really using them on offense. And they actually are supposed to do really good against X-Force. But again, I just haven't seen many X-Force teams that are on defense. So right now, since my Supernatural team isn't very built up, I just use them just as kind of one of my backup offense teams. And if there is, a team I'm looking at that I'm like, oh, I think they can, take care of them, I will use them for that. But like I said, it's a team I haven't really worked on quite yet. So I think once I kind of start working on Ghost Rider, which I will be starting to work on my city characters for Dark Dimension 3 in the next couple days. So once that happens, I probably might be a little bit more inclined to work on this team. But as of right now, I mean, they do pretty well for themselves. So, kind of again, basic concept of this team, I would say, is, you know, Doctor Strange is flipping buffs. Ghost Rider and Mordo are, putting buffs on the team members. Scarlet Witch is making those buffs last a little bit longer. And then Elsa just kind of comes in and is doing damage. Is what I would say kind of how this team works. So they do pretty well against teams that, again, don't have a cleanser. Um, and yeah, that's kind of my thoughts, I guess, on Supernatural. Excuse me. So we are done with that one. We are quickly nearing the end of my roster. So if you have stuck around this far, thanks for watching. I think we can get one more team in before we go. This team, again, it's kind of made up of leftover characters, and again, characters that kind of don't have a home. It's just kind of more of a blitz team, and I haven't really worked on it very much, so I'm not really going to touch too much on them. Next, we have the Hydra Red Skull team. This is, again, one of those kind of meta defense teams, and the reason they work so well is, especially in the war mechanics, Red Skull gets crazy defense up when he has all of his Hydra minions. So basically, he takes no damage until all of the Hydra minions are dead, And the cool thing about his kit is he gets these 8 charges, so that basically means the Hydra minions in total can res 8 times. Once they have rezzed 8 times, the charges go away, and then you can actually start killing the Hydra minions. So until all 8 Hydra minions, the minions are killed 8 times, Red Skull basically takes no damage. So this team basically just kind of like outlasts everyone. Um, so really kind of the only teams that, kind of perfectly counter this team are going to be your Inhumans with Black Bolt. Your Black Order will do pretty well against this team just because the massive amounts of damage they do. And then the newly released team is going to be Baron Zemo, and that's just because Baron Zemo has a very similar kit as Black Bolt in the sense that once a minion dies, it can't be revived. Um, Now, the same mechanic doesn't work in Blitz. Red Skull does not get that insane defense up, so Red Skull is a little squishier in Blitz than he is in War. So if you are looking at this team on a Blitz fight, basically the easiest concept is just to target Red Skull immediately, kill him, and then the minion should go down pretty easily. If it is on War defense, the best thing you can do is kill the minions 8 times. Once they are fully dead, you then go on to Red Skull, and then the fight is over. So if you are looking at a Red Skull fight, you basically are looking to out-survive them. That is going to end this part. We will start the next and possibly final part in just a few minutes. Thank you for watching, and look for part 6.